inside. Susana Baker, the Art Talk with Susana Baker, live every Friday, and thank you for joining us. And you can always listen live to us not only on 880 the AM, but also going on the computer, www.880thebiz.com. Today is an important day for me because I have one of my most influential mentors of my life. The reason why I love what I do with the art experience is because I've met throughout this journey of my new career when I came to Florida, was doing these art tours. And one of the very first people that ever opened the door to me and took me under her wings is the beautiful and talented Bernice Steinbaum. Good morning, Bernice.
Good morning, Suzanne. I'm so happy to be here with you.
I am thrilled. I gotta tell you, I know many people in Miami and South Florida and nationally, internationally, knows the name Bernice Steinbaum. It is iconic with everything from being a gallerist to having that eagle eye to opening and paving the way for women in the arts. And I want to ask you a question as like I didn't know you, because as many people that are listening in today throughout our national waves as well as international through iHeart, those who might not know who Bernice Steinbaum is and might have just heard of the name or seen that beautiful smile or the petite picture of this powerhouse woman, can you let us know exactly, Bernice Steinbaum, how did you get into the arts and what inspired you?
I was teaching, and as you know, 60% of the people who were graduating with MFAs in art were women, and I went to my favorite galleries, and I became aware that no women were showing in New York, or very few, if any. And I decided that I was going to make a difference. I was going to change that. And I opened a gallery in early 1969-70 that showed 50% women, 40% women of color, and 10% Caucasian women. And we did show some men because the time but separate but equal was finished. We wanted to be weighed on the same scales as our male counterparts. And I was very successful because there was not one museum or one facility that was not including people of color. And that was my claim to fame. I've been a dealer for 40 years, a long time, and came to Florida in 2000 and became aware of landscape. In New York, we don't have that.
Why did you leave now? What you did in New York in 1970s, and you continued being one of the top galleries from Madison Avenue to Soho as well. And you have under your roster some of the most impressive contemporary artists of our time, some of the most important ones of the 20th century. And I love to know also our people listening, this Bernice Steinbaum not only has an eagle eye, but also changed and paved ways for female artists. It's still today in 2018, the inequalities that are so much shown, especially with our new administration and the White House. It is, and we're not going to go there because this show is really about everything that I think is important of why we fight for that type of hate or inequality. And it's women like you that have spent their lifetime creating a voice, and that voice is not going to disappear in 2018. And I know that you have 4 MacArthur Awards that your artists have received. And a MacArthur Award is when it's a very distinguished honor among the pioneers and peers, the most influential people in the art world, that choose an artist to gained this prestigious award, which is $250,000 to
It's a
do.
little more now.
It's a little more now. And so you've I believe it's 4, but maybe I read even 8. Maybe they were nominated for more, and 4 that actually got it. But Hung Lu, which is an amazing artist, Maria
Magdalena Campos Pons represented us in Documenta this year and in many Venice Biennales and Kwangsung Triennial in China. And Pepo Nosorio, Amalia Mesa Baines, and Deborah Willis are all mine. And someone asked Deborah, who do you think will be the next year's winner? And she said, don't ask me, ask my dealer. She has more than anybody.
It's true. And let me tell you, the nice thing is your roster is not just like some people when you say, oh, women of color, or, it's Asian women. It's Maria Magdalena Campos Pons is Chinese and Cuban African. And so it's a unique, and then here you go, and you create all this buzz in New York. Your main buyers are museums. Any museum acquisition department will send their directors to see Bernice Steinbaum, and you sell, you win awards for your artists, you win awards for yourself. What brings you to Miami?
We have 3 children, all of whom settled in Miami. My husband and I would laugh that our children were here before us. And it took the advent of grandbabies for us to come. We were not having any in New York, but it seemed that it was a magnetic draw, and it was time to move on, we felt, for both of us. I was caught in 2 horrible storms in New York with 2 California artists, and they couldn't leave New York, and we couldn't get to the galleries for their openings, and so it was time. And Miami seemed like the place to be, particularly because of the grandchildren coming.
Thank God for those kids, huh? Thank God. I would have never met you in the world. And the works that you continue when you get to Miami, because as you always say, Miami has those iconic images that you can't find anywhere, those big, big skies.
Yes.
And as they influenced you, you start to bring a new set of roster of artists. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit about
in New York we have a little triangle, and we call that sky between 2 skyscrapers. In Miami, there are big skies and big clouds and big weather. In New York, people go inside for their curiosity because there's no way to go outside. But here, people take an appreciation of the Everglades, of the waterways, and I too, who am not a nature lover by reputation as a New Yorker, I too started to look at things in nature and become very intrigued. And I wanted my grandchildren's grandchildren to have a landscape to look out and enjoy. And I am interested in recycled material. I represent an artist named Enrique Gomez de Molina, who recycles the material, and his plea is, do not kill animals for sport. I can make you the most wonderful animal, and you can hang it on your wall, because whatever happens to the animals happens to us. And I represent people that deal with nature and make us see that many of the most banal scenes, weeds and something, when isolated, become such a beautiful thing to share. And so that is my thrust now.
I have to tell you, some of your shows and some of your themes of your personages when you would open up your gallery, and now we're very fortunate that, when you did come here in 2000, you were a pioneer. You opened up your very first gallery on 36 North Miami Avenue, and across there was no Midtown. It was chain link fence and pebbled rocks and storage of containers up to 8 stories high with prostitution and drug dealing of every kind. Your family thought you lost your mind. What are you kidding me? You're gonna go from Madison Avenue to 36 and North Miami Avenue, beknownst to no one, but you have that intuition, you have that gut, you got that eagle eye. You don't let anyone tell you it's not possible, and you don't live your life or philosophy that way. You go out on the limb believing, and I think that whole emotion creates an earthquake under, because that's exactly what happens. Wynwood soon after becomes the most famous place. Art Miami and all the fair anchor tents for Miami Art Week open up only 3 blocks away from your gallery, unbeknownst to your kids, to yourself, but you felt it, you knew it, and that's what you do, and that's amazing, and people recognize that in the art world. So now in 2012, you're given one of the biggest lifetime achievement awards from the Women Caucus of the art world, the pioneers, the highest of the highest, and you come out and tell me one day, I'm closing my gallery. Probably the darkest day I ever felt, because I love going to your gallery. But you did that because you said, what do I do now?
I stayed home for 3 weeks. And the question is, how much manicure and pedicure can someone take? Anyway, I wanted to make a difference. The paradox of our time in history is that we have taller buildings but shorter tempers, wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We spend more time but we have less time. We buy more things but we enjoy them less. And I've been thinking about what the arts and humanities mean, and they have an indispensable role in shaping our nation. The artist's vision has opened our eyes to the richness and diversity of the human spirit. We are living in an era of breathtaking change and unlimited possibility. I am overwhelmed by technology and the things you have done here with me today. But we know that change brings new challenges and often brings to light old, unresolved difficulties. Now more than ever, we need artists to help us make sense of the world in which we live and to remind us what really matters in life and to embody the values we Americans hold so dear: freedom of expression, tolerance, and respect for diversity. I encourage all of you to honor the past, imagine the future, and to know that what you will do to nurture the arts and humanities in your schools, in your communities, in your homes, and make it better for the nation as a whole.
I have to tell you, I love you.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love
Thank
you, and I share the same sentiment with thousands. And what your work has done here in this globe, because it's not here in Miami, it's not in New York, it is global. Everything you've done, it will be remembered by your children's children, grandchildren, their grandchildren, because you, Bernice Steinbaum, is something that is not a race. It is remembering the past. It is dreaming in the future. And it is what you did in your efforts today and yesterday that makes young girls know that there is a tomorrow. And you've done that by dreaming the dream and walking the walk and talking the talk. And you'll be honored soon. And when is your next show because we have ran out of time. When is your next show at Bernice Steinbaum Gallery?
It's in September 22nd, Saturday night. It's Enrique Gomez de Molina, and it's called Birds of Paradise. And I hope anybody that's interested will come to the opening It's from 5 to 9, and you can look me up under Bernice Steinbaum Gallery.
Bernice Steinbaum Gallery on Facebook. Also, Bernice Steinbaum Gallery on, I think, at Bernice Steinbaum Gallery for Instagram. And also the Faina, the Hearts and Minds charity, which is a major platform to showcase the influencers of today's world, is honoring you at the Faina Hotel. I believe that's going to be in September as well.
September 30th.
September 30th. So if anyone's interested, go to heartsandminds.org. Take a look at the amazing rosters of women that are being honored for their achievements, Lifetime Achievements Award. And let me tell you, Miss Bernice Steinbaum, you are loved by many. You are treasured. You are an American treasure, a gem of Miami. And we need more Bernice Steinbaum. And so with that being said, we thank you again for listening into Art Talk by Susana Baker with Susana Baker. Today's guest was Bernice Steinbaum. We'll be posting this live on Facebook. And next week we'll see you Friday for Art Talk with Susana Baker on 880 The Biz, our Wall Street's Bloomberg radio station. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.